Carnage has returned, and he is calling upon all of the symbiotes for an extreme need. Welcome to the Comicstorian channel, where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Marvel Comics has started up their next symbiote event, and it is known as Extreme Carnage. Carnage has been cited having been risen from the dead after King in Black, and he is now a politician trying to tell everyone that they need to kill the aliens so that he can find all of the other symbiotes and absorb them. Agent Venom is back in the action as he is tracking them all down, but the way that this crossover is working is every symbiote is getting their own individual issue. So today we're going to be looking at Scream. Scream is another symbiote that is currently being hosted by Andy. Andy is Flash Thompson's former sidekick, who needed a new symbiote after she got the Hell Mark. So today we're going to be bringing you Extreme Carnage Scream. I will link Extreme Carnage #1 down below so you can see how we got here. But don't worry, this is considered a standalone issue. And if you enjoy our presentation here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, smashing that like button, and joining us over on Patreon to vote for the next videos coming to the channel. Let's get into Extreme Carnage Scream. Alchemex is a dangerous place. An evil place. Man-made monstrosities are created there. The worst that there has ever been. And tonight, one of those things broke free. Spider-Man's doppelganger clone jumps out of the Alchemex building, and the guardsmen quickly pursue it. Doppelganger fights back with what he can, managing to snap the neck of one of the guards, but it isn't them that he should be worried about. Wearing the Scream symbiote, Andy shouts, asking, "Where are you going?" "We've been looking for someone that you know. You wouldn't happen to know where we can find Demogoblin, would you?" Scream tells Andy to stop teasing the doppelganger. She'll just aggravate it more. Doppelganger lunges up to where Andy is swiping, clawing at her, so Andy opens up her mouth, chomping down on the creature's neck. The living guardsman on the ground reports back that they have encountered a symbiote, lock onto the suit's location, and bring it back up. Scream tells Andy that the guardsmen are hunting her, and Andy says, "Bad for them. But what if there's another way around?" After securing Doppelganger, she stands before the guardsman asking, "Why are you hunting our kind?" The guardsman yells that he doesn't know anything. They have orders to keep an eye out for any non-human activity. That's all they're getting out of him. Andy leans in asking, "Is that so? There's more than one way to skin a cat." As hair begins to creep onto the guardsman's armor, it begins to poke and prod, ripping apart the armor, when suddenly Scream makes her stop. Scream asks, "Did you hear that?" Andy tells her, "No, but I can feel it. It's making me dizzy. Where's it coming from?" Scream takes control again. "Can you hear that? Calling us!" As Scream breaks the window to the electric store, Andy asks, "What? Senator Kane's calling you? Never thought politics would get to symbiotes." Scream tells her, "No, something other. I can hear it. Can't stop ourselves. Must follow family." The thumping sound grows louder and louder, and Andy says that her skull is pounding. "Why can't I think straight? We need to get ourselves together and..." But before she could finish, a speeding car hits them, sending Scream bouncing across the road. Andy says that this isn't like them. She isn't in control, and Scream is telling her, "We must go! Must go! Must go!" Andy tells her to stop. She's supposed to be family. Scream starts to separate herself from Andy. "Can't stop hearing it! The call! Must go! Must find it! Need it!" Andy takes control, pulling a sewer lid off, jumping and stating that what they need is a timeout. "At least down here we'll be safe from ourselves." And Scream hisses, shouting, "You can't do this! Don't make us do this!" And as they fall into the water, Andy asks, "Do what? You're separating from me. Fight whatever it is. Resist it. You're stronger than whatever that is." "Scream?" As Andy looks at her hands, she can see that Scream has completely separated from her and asks, "Where did you go? Why are you so quiet? Wait, this isn't a sewer. Where are we?" Through the darkness, Carnage appears. "That's right. She's right where I want her to be. In your head, with all those squiggling little thoughts." Andy realizes what's going on. "No, Carnage, how did you..." "It's kind of a funny story. What happens to a kingdom when you depose the king? Null used to rule this place, and now Brock thinks he's the king in black. But I was here first! I made this my home while I was waiting for the storm to blow over. See, Brock thought he put me down like a dog. But deep down, we all know the truth. Say it with me, Andy. Carnage never dies. Andy calls out to Scream, begging for her to come back, but Carnage cages her, telling her, "You need to save your breath. Scream can't hear you anymore. Now be a good girl and sit in the corner while I have a chat with my little sis." Poor little sis. You and your symbiotic siblings were forced into this existence. This life was never your calling. Don't worry. Big Brother is planning a family reunion, and you're my first guest. All I need for you to do is scream. With Carnage in control of Andy and Scream, he asks, "How about it? How about we go have ourselves a little fun?" As more guardsmen arrive, they immediately open fire, and Carnage jumps up, stabbing one in the head with his tendril, slamming him into the ground. The second opens fire, and he turns back asking, "Do you want to dance too? There's plenty of me to go around." And while several strands of his hair and tendrils begin to rip the man apart, inside Andy's mind, she is yelling to Scream, "Please, stop! You're killing people!" Scream tells her no. And Andy asks, what does she mean, no? This isn't you. You're acting like an addict. Scream tells her that she can feel his call, his pull, undeniable. Their family is reaching out for them, for her. She begins to crush Andy in her mind, and Andy says that she didn't want to hurt them, but her eyes glow red, and she summons the Hellfire brand upon her chest, burning Carnage and Scream from the outside. She yells, "I don't want to hurt you, but you're leaving me no choice!" And after a few moments, she gasps for air in the real world, panting, asking, how could she do this? Carnage asks, "Do you see how quickly your host turns on you? You were never going to work out. Now, hurt her before she can hurt us!" Scream begins to peel herself off and suffocate Andy. And Andy makes her brand burn hotter, brighter. She begins to rip both Carnage and Scream off of her. And as that smoke is fading, she asks, where is she? Oh God, please no, what did I do? I can't hear you anymore, Scream. At that moment, she is grabbed from behind and a guardsman tells her to surrender the remnants of the extraterrestrial and come with them. She turns back, blasting the guardsman, telling her, "You will not touch me! Leave me alone!" And as she gets ready for another attack, she lets the fire fade and asks them, "Just leave me alone. Scream, I'm sorry." And with that, we have the conclusion to Scream's individual issue. From the looks of things, Carnage is going around claiming all of his brothers and sisters. But what does this mean for our King in Black, the new Venom, which is actually Eddie Brock's son, Dylan Brock, at this point? The story of Venom is getting very interesting once again, and of course we can't let go of Carnage, not with Venom 2 right around the corner. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this entire thing, because honestly, I'm excited. I thought it was going to be years before we get to see the Venom family again, but here they are, all the symbiotes ready to rock. Don't forget to check us out over at Patreon. You can also subscribe to the channel to get daily comic book videos right here, and thank you so much for your guys' continued support. You're incredible, and without you, we wouldn't exist.